Hello everyone and welcome. In this session we're going to talk about the cover of the iPod. So we're going to create one cover and then apply different colors and also take that to Photoshop and create different texture for the cover and so on and so forth. So here's a quick render of the final output of the cover. Okay, and I made two different iPods and I laid one of them down like so. So let's go ahead and see where we left last time. I'm going to go ahead and open up 3D Studio Max, and this is what we did last time. Let me do a quick render of that. Here it is. Okay, so to create a cover, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a duplicate of the body of the iPod. So let's go ahead and zoom out on the front, like so. I'm going to go ahead and pan a little bit, and then I'll select the body only. So here it is. Here's the body. And I'll go ahead and hold shift to make a duplicate of the body. So hold shift and drag on the X. Here it is. So I'm going to say clone, yes. Go ahead and clone it. Okay. And then I'll also make another one. So I'll make two of those. There it is. Perfect. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to select both of these, the two bodies that I created, and I'll move them forward on the left side. So I'll come here. Here's the left side, and I'll go ahead and zoom out a little bit. With the move tool, I will move them forward a little bit, like so. So both of them have been moved forward, and we can see that from the top view as well. See, these, both of them are moved a little forward like that. Okay, great. Let me zoom in on the top view, and also zoom in on the left view, and pan a little bit. Same thing for the front view. Go ahead and zoom in. The shortcut to zoom in is Alt-Z, and then Control-P is the shortcut to pan. Okay, so if you want to learn the shortcuts, you can do that. There it is, and then Control-P to pan, so you don't have to click on the icons here at the bottom. Okay, the reason I created two different bodies, it's because I am going to subtract one from the other. And that way we can engrave, or we can cut the middle portion. It will look like a cover, and you'll see how that is done. So I'll go ahead and let's move this one further front, like so. Here it is, and I will bring that in front of that one. So I'm going to go to the top view, and here's that. Then I'll go to the front view and zoom in even closer. As a matter of fact, let's go ahead and maximize that. So here's that. And I will turn the highlight, the smooth and highlights on. There it is. And then I'll go ahead and zoom in even further in here and see. There we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the one in the back, so this body, I'll make that a little bit larger. So I'll come back to the front. I just selected from the top view. I'll come back to the front and then increase the scale a little bit. There we go, something like that, and then move it with the move tool to where I want. Maybe a little bit bigger on the x-axis, so something like that. Okay, now you want to be more precise and see that all four edges have the same amount of distance. That looks pretty good. So next, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to come to the left view. I'll go ahead and maximize that, and then I'll zoom in a little bit. Here we go. And I'll move the one that is smaller. I'll move that inside here like so. There we go. Next, I will go ahead and use the Boolean tool. So I will subtract the one that is smaller from the one that's bigger. So I'll select the one that's bigger. Okay, and then I'll come here under the drop down. I'll click on compound objects, and here's Boolean. Okay, no, before I do that, actually, let's go ahead and convert both of these into polygons. So right now, that is already an editable polygon. How about this one? They are both editable polygons, so that's great. So let's try this one more time. Boolean, and it'll ask me pick operand B, so I'll come here and pick this operand right here, and here it is. So if I look at this now, I can see that we have subtracted, or we created that bevel in, and it looks like the skin. So if I come in and do a render of that, here it is. This is what we got so far. I'll move this just a little bit up so this is not synced, because we made that a little bigger. So when I select that, let's go back here to the left view, and I'll move that a little bit up. There it is. And then I'll do a render again just so you can see that. Perfect. So now let's bring that in here, and let's see, we have to maybe pull the edges a little bit down so it looks like a skin in there. So I'll come here on the left side. There it is. And I'll move this back now. Make it maybe a little bit wider. Okay. And let's come back. Zoom in a little further. I'll pan. And then move it. So here's the one behind it. So you want to move it somewhere in here. There we go. Now I'll move that using the front view. I'll go ahead and move that to where the iPod is. Okay, I'll move that down a little bit. There it is. Now, this doesn't look like the skin yet, so I will go ahead and do something like this. I will go ahead and change the color first. So let's make this maybe blue, dark blue, like that. And let's do a render of that. Let's see how that looks. Maybe we need to adjust it a little bit more. So let's zoom in a little bit. Let's see how it looks from a zoomed in. Okay, see how that one in there is not looking good. So let's come back here to the front, and I'll do something like this. I'll go ahead and convert that into an editable polygon, and I will select vertices. Now notice that the vertices that are on the edge that we Boolean, those are all selected, so those are red. Make sure you keep them red, and then I'll go ahead and drag down with a scale tool. So we have a more, we're covering that a little more. Now when I go ahead and do a render of that, that looks a lot better. That looks a lot more like the skin. So let's go ahead and maybe adjust this just a little bit more on the edges. There it is. So let's see. See how this looks now. Okay, I'll come back here to this view in here. I'll move that just a little bit so we don't see much. We just see a little bit of that. See how this looks. Okay, not bad. So let's take a look at a different angle. Much better. Okay, so here's that. And what I did, I created two different ones. So right now let's actually move the whole thing a little bit up, because if we look from this view, looks like this is actually sinking down at the bottom. So I'll come back here onto the left side. I'll make that, I maximize that viewport, and if I scroll down, or I'm sorry, if I pan down and zoom in, I can see that that is actually sinking at the bottom in here. So what I can do is I can zoom out and then select all of this, and then zoom back in and move that up so it does not sink at the bottom. I'll move that something like that. There we go. Let's go and render that, and that's much better. So here's how you apply a cover of the iPod, or how you make a cover of the iPod. And then what I did, I made a duplicate of this and just change the color of the cover. So I'm gonna come here and say make a duplicate of that, and maybe rotate. So here's that. I'll say make a clone of that, and then from the top view, what I did, I went and rotated this. So I rotated it like so, and I can position it a little bit this way, and then I can go ahead and rotate that down. As a matter of fact, let's rotate it first 90 degrees counterclockwise. So I'll rotate it this way first. There we go. And then from the top view, I'll rotate it in the direction that we initially rotated it. And here we go. And then I'll also move it a little bit this way, like so. So when we come to the perspective view, I'll change also the color of the cover. So maybe we'll apply this color to that. And then I'll go ahead and pan this. And let's take a render of that. Let's see how that looks. Okay, here we go. So let's zoom in just a little bit so we get the edges or the corners of the iPod. Okay, so that's how you would model the cover, and then we'll go ahead and take this into Photoshop and apply different texture.